Yeah. Yeah, it's about that time for our Tuesday night live stream event. Well, I'd love to hear a piano arrangement of that. Anyway, tonight it's OutRun. And it's not just OutRun. I've been threatening to do this for a while. This new series, like I need a new series. We're not far enough along on any of our other ones. But this new series, SEGA did it better. Because didn't they? I mean, I know that they didn't have the third-party support. I know that they had a lot less games. But there were certain rival games. Nintendo versus Sega, if you will. Or maybe I'm just calling them that. But there were certain games where it was readily evident that Sega did it better. We are already joined by the Woodbury and Retro Game Hunter. Welcome, Wood. So this first episode is OutRun versus Rad Racer. Now, no disrespect to Rad Racer. I love Rad Racer. The sounds, the look, the label of the damn cartridge. Hell, it was one of the frickin' originals, man. It's an NES classic. But Sega's little red car game was called OutRun. And it was better. Welcome Jason Rotburst to the stream. Welcome any and all that want to join us for this, because I mean, I'm just in the mood. Now, let's talk about... We talked about this in my last pickup video. Splash Wave was the third one. I couldn't think of it. Splash Wave, Passing Breeze, and Magical Sound Shower. I think I said Mystical Sound Shower, so technically I only got one right. Let's race, by God. Oh, the D-pad wants to change gears on me too easy. I need to switch to the Sega pad for this one. We're using the Genesis 6 button. God, get out of my way, fool! God, I used to be able to beat OutRun on every single path that you could take. Can and did. Not gonna expect to do that good today. But we're gonna try. And we're gonna look at some OutRun action today. But we're not going to look at Rad Racer. We're just not going to do them both in the same episode. We're going to give each one their day in court and their chance to compete. And hell, I'm not saying I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I go back to Rad Racer and say, damn, boy, this is so much better than OutRun. But that's not how I remember it. Ah, there's an S-curve right there on that hill, and it's such a B.I. itch. Forgot about that. You got to know every turn. Bastard. Sticking that piece of shit right there when I'm trying to make my turn. For any of you who are interested, there are some bitchin' OutRun soundtracks on iTunes. Obviously. Well, that's it for me. Once you flip the old Testarossa, you can pretty much kiss your experience goodbye. Well, hey, I gotta get my legs here, right? It was always so funny to me how it moved so weird when it went under these archways. Like you were almost like the frickin' Arkanoid thing sliding on the bottom of the screen. We are joined by Robert Payne. Welcome, RP, to our stream. Glad to have you, sir. You are just in time to watch us put on trial the Sega all-time classic racer, OutRun. That was by far a worse crash. So So this will be an ongoing series. This isn't just a matter of OutRun versus Rad Racer. No. God, no. There are so many games that maybe you don't even realize are direct competitors of each other from one system to the other. And you can make valid arguments for either side in some cases. And I think this is where we're going to pull it over and park right here. Well, we didn't get very far on that one. But yeah, there are some matchups where it's just a slam dunk. And I really think this is one of them. I mean, Rad Racer was the more common game. It was probably the more popular game. But the NES was the more popular system. You know, a lot of times you didn't know people that had Sega Master System. I might have had one or two friends that had it, but the majority of people I knew had Nintendos. I was the weird one. Still am. We're already off to a shitty start. I prefer the Genesis 6 button in almost all Sega scenarios. I may be switching back to the Sega control pad on this. Something just feels very unnatural. This is a game where you gotta use the brakes. And sadly enough, playing some of the newer iterations of OutRun, they've turned into what Mario Kart's turned into. It's a drift fest. I mean, you race the entire race sideways, and it's like, dude, I've never seen a Ferrari race sideways before. I'm pretty sure you don't do that. We are joined by CM Retro Gaming. Welcome, Chris Miller, to our stream. Chris is in possession of a very special game for the PS1, featured in Year of the PlayStation, of course. If anything, it makes the entire Year of the PlayStation. Sesame Street Sports. I'm telling you what right now, if we have a chance to see Telly on a snowboard, we're going to see that. We'll make that happen. They get you right there. You come right out on the top of that hill and you got to know the timing that it's going to be a turn or they clip you with a damn rock. OutRun had such great music. And you know what? There are much better retrospectives on OutRun out there than mine. You know, the one we're going to do tonight. Obviously, I've seen people on here. I was watching one last night, as a matter of fact. Guy was playing it on the Amiga, playing it on, I think he played it on the Commodore. He was playing it on all kind of stuff. And some of the versions were so bad. You got to wonder how they even managed to put them out. But the one thing that didn't falter was the music. Even where it did get bad, it still was the song. And you could tell that it was what it was. So it was really neat to see all the different versions. And all the different arcade machines. And all the different versions of OutRun in general. It wasn't just OutRun. There was an OutRun 3D, OutRun Europa. There was the OutRun on the 16-bit. I mean, that again, this is where they kind of win it. And I'm only really doing OutRun itself, this version, versus Rad Racer. But as a series, OutRun also stood the test of time. Unless Nintendo's got something coming out for the Switch or a modern-day Rad Racer we don't know about. This one definitely hung around longer too, as well as being the better quality racer right out of the box. God, the S-curves on the desert board, man, I'll make a man out of you. Holy dog shnikey. You piece of shit, get out of my way. You frickin' bastard. It's so dick. The other cars are dick. You know, it's a long time before the music loops back over. These are some long songs. I couldn't believe even looking at the soundtracks on iTunes. Some of these were like 6 minutes in length. They're long tunes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, come on. Come on, you piece of shnikey. See if Splash Wave puts a little grease in our garter. You gotta get on the good foot on this game. You really gotta start off on the first level, the one you obviously do the most of, because it's the first level every time. And really just finish it optimally. To get in this thing with as many bonus seconds as you can for each subsequent level. Man, if there was a game soundtrack ever I wanted to hear a 80s cover band with hot pink rock guitars play a heavy metal cover of the tunes, it'd be OutRun, man. Some sizzling solos and leads you could do. Barely scooted past that turd. S-curve on the fucking hill. That didn't hit me! That's it, man. That's ball game. That's it. But I'm not going to be one of these guys that just resets it over and over again. We're going to see each play Cradle to the Grave. I was watching some idiot play GoldenEye last night, and God, he was trying to do speed runs of the levels, and he was hitting reset like every 5 seconds. It's like, dude, obviously you're not good enough to do a speed run, so don't make everybody watch this. Come back when you can play. Just play the damn game. Nobody wants to watch that. Rad Racer, back to that again, because this is a versus. We're talking about who did it better. Rad Racer got a little bit of fame, too, because of the Power Glove functionality, although that really, it didn't behoove you to use that, obviously. We know that now. But Rad Racer, just all the times that I've played it, I never once thought it was a better product than this. And again, no disrespect, and it doesn't do anything wrong. It does what it does, and that's it. And that either has to be enough, or it's not. And in this case, I don't think it's enough. There was some really good racing on Sega. I mean, you got Hang On with the game. Hang On was terrific. S-curves on a hill. The bastardness. It knows no bounds. Dude, come out of it, for God's sake. Am I in the sand or am I on the road here? Dog turd hoagie melts. It keeps slipping out of gear on me. I mean, I know there were only 2 buttons, but damn, I wish there was another way to do the gear shifting. Because, I mean, in turning left or right, you can easily kick it into low gear. You're having to constantly rock your thumb on the bottom. We're going to park it right here. Welcome, Lucky Collector, to our stream. You're in time to see me get my shit pushed in on OutRun. Yeah, Hang On was great, man. Loved that. My first 2 games that I got when I got my Master System, I was 7 years old. It came with Hang On Safari Hunt, pack in. And then I got Rambo First Blood Part 2. My folks just bought me that to have another game. And as you know, we recently took Rambo to the hole for the first time in my entire life. And that was probably my greatest gaming achievement to date. And I couldn't have done it without you guys' support. Everybody that was here that night, you were behind me. I didn't even realize how money I was on there. I mean, we had a perfect game of Rambo going all the way into the last stage. And that's what it takes with a lot of these old games. We've been made soft by the new games of today. We don't understand the real effort it takes to beat some of these things. Then you come back and your thumb's blistered and your ass is getting whooped and you're like, "Dadgum, I don't remember this being this hard." I mean, again, this is a game that I beat every way possible, every route. Actually sat there writing down which places I took a left on and which places I didn't. I'm never on the inside on that turn, and you gotta be. I'm such a stooge. Now I can't even get through it one time. Oh my frickin' ding-dong in the ass! Ding dong in my ass. Dong along. Legend of the... Oh, where did that piece of shit come from? They just stick them wherever they gotta stick them to get you. I swear to God. I will reiterate that we will not be looking at Rad Racer tonight. We will look at that in a second segment. These are going to be 2-parters when we do these. We're going to do a night of one game and a night of the other. And then at the end, you tell me who you think won. You tell me how it measures up. Because my hopes is that you're going to... I mean, OutRun, everybody knows what OutRun is, I hope. And nothing surprises me anymore. Because honestly, I see... more and more retro gamers that still, they see something I think is commonly known, and they're like, "What is that?" I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" But I mean, everybody knows what OutRun is, I would hope. But we're going to look at some games that maybe either you haven't heard of, or that you just may not have seen. And while it may not be a direct competitor, or that it ever did compete with the Nintendo counterpart, I'm at least going to give you reasons why it should have, or why I think it does. And oh my God, we made that frickin' thing by... That was finer than a frog's hair split 4 ways right there. What?! That piece of shit was past me, and it kept it right there in the foreground just so he could hit me again. Dick Run is what this game should be called. I was smooth enough to dodge that guy, but the other dude, Shifty McShifterson, right in front of me. We obviously know we're not going to make it through this one. What I don't remember is if going to the right gets you to the harder stages, like it does in the later OutRuns, in this one, or if I just suck that bad and this is the easy route and I suck. Oh, that's a cool level. I always thought that road looked so cool when I got to it. The flag man needs to lay off the cheeseburgers. I'm so out of touch with games. I'm not good at them anymore, and sometimes I question if I ever even really was. Except I do have memories, of course, of beating some of these games I'm not worth a shit at anymore. But I want to make a comeback. I want to spend time on them. Every time I get into a game, I move on to something else. It's like I'm freaking got ADD with my games or something. But that happens when you have as many as we collectors do. I mean, at least it does for me. I have a hard time staying pinned down on something because I get in a mood, man. I found an OutRun 2 on a pick, and I was like, man, now I want to play OutRun. It's because I tested the game, you know, and it worked. And then I don't just test it. I'm playing it for a minute. It's good. Yeah, thanks for a double wreck. Stick my scrotum up my ass and pull it out my fucking ear. I'm going this way. Oh, and of course he is too. But watch away! But watch away! Welcome, Historic Nerd, to our stream. And yes, this is on the Sega Master System. I was watching Historic Nerd do something recently. It was Virtua Racing, I believe. Speaking of good racing, Sega had good racing, man. Sega had some badass fucking racing, man. Enduro Racer was the shit. Hang On was the shit. And the arcade games of those were so freaking awesome. The Hang On where you could get on the motorcycle. Who didn't enjoy that? That didn't hit me. But again, I'm not here to diss Nintendo or diss the Nintendo games in these little competitions we're going to have. Rad Racer still stands up, and it's cool, man. I just think this is better, that's all. And if you like Rad Racer, you really got to try Final Lap Twin on the TurboGrafx 16. For a game that is part Rad Racer and part Dragon Warrior. Somehow they managed to make a hybrid RPG racing game, and it is phenomenal. It's just not what you think it is. Well, I was just hitting that no damn fucking matter way. What the hell? What am I, drunk? I can't play this worth a dick. Well, this is clearly not an easy stage. I suck. I suck. I suck. Pull over and park. Lucky Collector says he couldn't get past stage 2 of OutRun on the Genesis. We may take a look at that one tonight too, if time permits. I saw somebody review OutRun on the Genesis on some show that was, oh, we were streaming it on this game channel. It was like called Polaris or something like that. I don't know, the video's on YouTube, and if I can find it, I'm going to post it. But they were reviewing it, but they were talking trash about it because they were acting like, oh, well, this isn't Forza 7, so this sucks. You know, typical gamers of today that can't appreciate anything. I don't even call them gamers, man. And they thought this is evidently the thing on the show, but when they were done dissing it, they took it out back and got a chainsaw out and just carved it to ribbons and laughed about it and thought they were cool. And, you know, OutRun on Genesis is like a $60 freaking game now, which maybe they don't need $60, but I don't care if it was worth $5. You don't have a right to go out there and deface this stuff, man. This stuff is national treasures. And I mean, I said, man, that's it. I said, I'm going to go on there and dislike every video you've ever done without watching it. I mean, hell, I'd have bought it off him. I don't have OutRun on the Genesis. I mean, we have it here to play tonight because got everything right here on the EverDrive. And of course I've got my original OutRun from when I was a kid. I still have it, but for streaming purposes, it's easier to get right here on the EverDrive. We've got OutRun, OutRun Europa, OutRun 3D. We have OutRun Genesis and OutRun 2019, which has rocket cars and post-apocalyptic wasteland, and it's like a year and a half from now. Oh, I love all those games that thought they did a real futuristic date, and they didn't go far enough ahead. Either that, or we're just getting really, really old, man. 2019, man, it's fixing to be 2019. It'll be there before we can blink. This year's gone by in a flash. Granted, we've had a new baby in the house here for a little while, so nothing like that to make time fly, but it's flying. It was the year 1999. It's like, no, that was 20 years ago. I remember when that seemed so far away. Sci-fi stuff in the 80s still acting like Y2K was going to be the end of the world, and it wasn't. My headache the next morning felt like the end of the world. We played a keg party live that weekend that we were picked to play, and yeah, them kegs were floating, buddy, come the morning, and dadgum. I woke up pretty much right where we played, on the ground. We loaded everything back up and headed to the Waffle House and put some nasty, greasy eggs and hash browns down right on top of all that friggin' stomach alcohol bile, and went home and took a big, greasy diarrhea alcohol dump. And that was my Y2K. Way to ring in the millennium. Bring in your millennium with severe diarrhea from drinking too much Budweiser. When you see those signs, you already got to have the brake going. So hard. Damn. Yeah, if you found a beat-up copy of OutRun for $3 on Genesis, you still made some serious money. Even loose, I think that sucker's upwards of $30-40. And yes, hangover dumps are the best. We're joined by Jason Joseph. Welcome, Jason, to our Tuesday night live stream. Well, see, I've had 6 attempts here, man. We're going to go for lucky number 7, and if we don't get that, we're going to move on and check out the Genesis OutRun. Even though it's not technically on trial here, but how much OutRun can I possibly show you? This game took so much concentration, too. I'm never going to beat it sitting here talking. This won't be the only matchup, as I said. Our SEGA Did It Better series is going to go on and on. And you're not going to agree with me on all of them. Oh my God, you're so not going to agree with me on all of them, but I'm not going to spoil the other ones coming up, though. You have to just wait and see what they are. I might lose all my subs by the time it's over. Hey, at least I'm real with y'all. At least I'm coming at you. At least I'm telling you what I think. And I don't take anything away from the Nintendo classics that we're going to talk about on here. People have forever relished in the competition between two competing systems. Everybody, you know, and honestly, Sega never had a dog in that fight. Nobody ever got on the school bus and said, the Sega Master System's better. He would have got his ass kicked. Nobody ever said that. Nobody had a Sega, so nobody cared to make that argument. The real fighting didn't start till the 16-bit era, and y'all know that. Once it was Genesis versus Super Nintendo, then it was on. And before that, and I don't know how much of this any of you personally experienced, but I experienced a lot of TurboGrafx Genesis competition. A lot of people got TurboGrafx, and it's strange because you don't really know that many people that have them now. They're rare as hell, but when I was coming up, I mean, it almost seemed like more people got the TurboGrafx for Christmas that year, and we're all like, oh, no, dude, your Genesis sucks, man. Sega's going out of business, man. TurboGrafx is the best thing ever made. Blah, 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 blah. I didn't want to go that way, dude. And they put cars there on purpose to fuck you. Having a good run. Now we're going to go to a harder stage we've never been to and get shafted. Shafto the Clown's coming to visit. God, the windmill stage. We're going to get so shafted. The damn gear shifter is going to come off. But yeah, people were all about the TurboGrafx, man. They even had me second guessing my damn Genesis. Like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I got the wrong one. But I believed in my Sega, and that was what I wanted. And my buddy and I would go rent TurboGrafx's, man. We'd go to the House of Video Games in Stone Mountain. And we would rent them. We rented Turbo Duos, too. We got the whole TurboGrafx experience on certain weekends. And, you know, we enjoyed games like Legendary Axe and Bonk and all that bullshit, but none of it was like, oh, man, I'd trade my Genesis for this. It was exotic. I mean, I enjoyed Keith Courage and Alpha Zones, too. For a pack-in game, that game gets a lot of shit, and I actually think that was a really great pack-in game. Back when the pack-in games were super solid. You piece of fucking elk diarrhea! Oh, this is my stage right here, man. This is when the road looks cool. But obviously, TurboGrafx did not stand the test of time. And looking at them now, a lot of the games are quite mediocre. But a lot of them are really great. And the whole concept of it, it's the whole taboo, the whole exoticness of, ooh, I'm playing TurboGrafx right now. I mean, I just get off on it. I would play some Keith Courage right now, and I would have such a good time. What is this freaking bullet hell bullshit? Cars on both sides, trees on both sides, S-curve on a hill. What in the hell are you going to do? What am I supposed to do there? Let a freaking hippopotamus diarrhea in my mouth is what I'm supposed to do there. Don't give me a no-win situation. So many games back there gave you no-win situations that you just had to deal with. Yeah, there's an allure to the turbo graphics because it's just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just exotic. It's not something that you get all the time. It's like dressing up and going out to a fancy restaurant. Well, we were almost to the end, damn it. Best score yet. I can't stop. I can't accept that as an answer. Then we got the Super Nintendo, and I still thought Genesis was... I mean, I still had more fun with the Genesis overall, but I can't argue that the Super Nintendo was pretty amazing. So I just didn't get into that argument with anybody. I liked them both, I played them both, and finally I owned them both, so... Genesis does what Nintendo don't. "16-bit sports action." I didn't hit me! Oh my god. I'm out. Moving right along. Moving right along to OutRun on the Genesis. There's options. I don't deserve to play it on easy. A little upgraded hand on the knob.
Get ready.
Oh my god, that's tripping me out after playing the 8-bit version. C shifts gears. It's better than what we did have going. I don't understand why this game is so rare. I never saw it for sale anywhere in a store back then. Or I would have had it, because I loved OutRun. I always saw OutRun in the arcades, and I've always had OutRun on the Master System, still do. Never had this on the Genesis. I do have OutRun 2019 physical on the Genesis. Damn! Come on, man! Get on the road! Dude.
Checkpoint.
Checkpoint. No. Boy, I suck at this. If you have not played the Xbox version of OutRun, that OutRun 2 on Xbox, man. That's a treat. The music is amazing. A lot of different play modes where he's actually trying to impress the girl in the car. And if you suck at driving, she gets real turned off by you. Really creative concepts there for racing. You pick the girl up in a Testarossa, and that's still not enough. He's got to be able to drive it right. Thanks for semis on the road. No! No!
Checkpoint.
Oh, they're dead! Speaking of retro gamers that think they're retro gamers but aren't, I was watching some stuff on the new Commodore 64 Mini that's coming out, and I was reading comments where people were like, "Oh man, why would you want this? You know, who knows what any of these games are?" And it's like, I do. Is that bad that I know? I'll tell you right now, that Commodore 64 Mini has the Temple of Apshai trilogy on it, and if that was the only game on there, I'm buying one. Now, we'll talk about Temple of Apshai trilogy in a video later this week, for reasons that you will see at that point. Oh, I'm getting game over, man, and I was right there, yeah. But yeah, it's like, come on, man, you call yourself a retro gamer, and they don't even know none of this, man. You know how many games were on the Commodore? God, there were games on that Commodore. Valuable games, too. It's got a big collector's base. Oh, man, that's a lot of letters you can put in. We're going to do something more creative with that next time. My first Commodore was sold at a yard sale. I think my mom sold it for $5. All the games went with it. At the time, I didn't care. I was young and stupid. I had a complete and box copy of Bard's Tale 2, The Destiny Knight. That's worth like frickin' $50 now. That's worth as much as the damn computer is now at auction. Just the damn game in the big box folder. It came in one of them big folder type boxes. Looks like a damn record. Has the maps and everything in it. So cool. And I've got some big box AD&D 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons games still for the Commodore. And those are highly collectible. Sought after, big bucks. Could there be any more cars on this frickin' road? My God!
Checkpoint.
Checkpoint. Sounds like a drunk Smurf. Dude, get on the road. God, I remember this stage being a bitch. Not looking forward to doing this one again. Dude, get these fools off of me. Dude. Dude. Get the fuck away from me. Dick wrinkle. Oh my god, that's going to make me throw up. Oh my triple S curve. Shit, shave, and shower curve. With all the S's going on here. Heading for the mountains of Bush. Get a truck out of my way, man. Some bullshit. Oh, Lord. Yeah, and you know, I know the Commodore 64 Mini, that's not going to appeal to as many people. There were a lot of people that was before their time. But, yeah, it's still, you should want to look at that stuff. You should want to see the lineage of some of that stuff. There's a lot of great games on Commodore. And Commodore was really a little powerhouse for what little it had to work with. There are versions of games on that were, I mean, Genesis quality in the mid-'80s on my Atari ST, but then on that little 64K Commodore, they weren't that much worse graphically, and they were still very functional. A lot to be said for that, man. 64K, that's not a lot of juice under the hood there. 1 pixel on your Xbox avatar's ding-dong has more memory than that in this day and age. We take for granted. Oh man, I got a 15 terabyte hard drive slots. I mean, damn, why does it take that? Oh, they don't, man, they give you like 2 seconds of grace period on that. CM Retro says, if you were born on the 2000s, you should be banned from having the word retro in your YouTube name. It's really true, man, because there's some of these people, man, that are trying to act like they're more about it than just anybody, and like they're these big authorities on the subject, and it's like, dude, I mean, the N64 was freaking old by the time you were old enough to quit shitting yellow. So it's like, I don't even if you do know what you're talking about because you hustle and you're trying to get in this game now, I don't really care to hear it from you. It don't mean nothing to me. You didn't experience it in its infancy, in its current time, in its heyday, its prime. You know, so it can't, no matter what you say, it can't ever mean to you what it does to me because you weren't there. You weren't there, man. Oh, my thumb's going to sleep. You remember when they used to sell them thumb condoms? Thumbdoms. You could get them in the Nintendo Power Mag. They were like these little socks that you put on your thumb. And it was like supposed to keep you from getting raw thumbs. Oh, I want to find out what they were really called. I wonder what a set of those runs. If anybody has some of those on eBay. Step on Beat? Did they add a 4th tune? Or was that always in the arcade and just not in the home version? Being an expert, you think I'd know, but I'm going to tell you, the Master System, again, was the one that we played. I never had this game. Never saw it for sale anywhere. And in all my years now as an adult, picking and hunting stuff, I've never seen it. Hell, I say that too. Again, the people new to this game, I mean, the people that are big time hustling and going to these cons and have 15 little Samsons in a box. I don't want to hear nothing about that, man. Because I was hunting games in the 90s, and you know, I've been doing it, man. I've been at it a long time. But that being said, my point, I've never seen this game in the wild either. Found a box TurboGrafx with all the fixins and stacks of games in the wild. I can't find this thing. I can't find a copy of OutRun in the wild. How rare was this? You know, I always tell everybody, I never knew that I wasn't alone. I thought I was the only one, because I was the only one I knew that had a collection like I have, and I just didn't know people did this. One day I was like, man, I got to get on the treadmill, I'm getting fat, I got to lose some weight. And I'm like, well, I got to watch something while I'm on the treadmill or I'm going to get bored. So I pull up YouTube looking for something entertaining on there, and you know, that's when I found the Game Chasers, and their show's really great, obviously. But But that was the first time I realized there's other people that do this, you know? There's other people that do this. And now, obviously, years and years later... Oh my god, what is this? Years and years later, now I'm a very small fish in a giant, giant pond of piranhas. To the point where, you know, hell, just this past weekend, I was buying up every game I saw just so that the frickin' crumb bums behind me wouldn't get any. And, you know, I know that's maybe not nice, but I don't care. I feel like I'm being invaded, man. This is my thing. I didn't invite the rest of the world to get in on it. If I was into picking my ass and smelling my fingers, would the whole world be doing that too? And having FingerCon, where you pick your ass and smell your fingers with 8 million people, and there's a line to get in and smell them? I don't know. Welcome to FingerCon, where you can get your finger on. Finger your butt and smell your fingers at FingerCon. Jason still has his NES from when he was 7, he says. See, that's awesome. I mean, it's extra special to you. There are many others like it, but this one is mine. CM Retro says they'll never know what it's like to open a new NES game and smell that new game smell. And no, they won't. Sega games also had a smell, too, that came from the plastic box. And after the cigarette hooker stink got off of this copy of Global Defense I got at the flea market the other week, after it sat in my room for a little while and kind of aired out, it was still there, man, and I had to see if it was still there. Yeah, I'm in here smelling my games. I pulled the manual out, I turned to the center page, and I drew deep, I inhaled deeply, and there was that Sega smell. It was still there 30 years later. After being in who knows how many cigarette butt stinky windowless vans in the parking lots of how many freaking Waffle Houses and flea markets this poor game has suffered through. It still smells like Sega. Back to Master System. I gotta beat it. We're still not completely out of time yet. Jason says, buying games at American Fair. I remember them. I didn't remember it till you said it, but I remember American Fair. And I remember Service Merchandise. That was such an 80s store. But a lot of my big box computer games came from Service Merchandise. There was another store down here in Georgia, too, that I'm going to go mad trying to remember the name. It was a 2-word name. Both names started with a C. I can't think of it to save my life. They had nothing but computer games, wall to wall. And you could go there and get the newest IBM game for $50, or what I wanted to do was go there and get the newest game, but the Atari ST version, for like $2 the day it came out, because they already know nobody wants it, and it would go in the bargain bin. So many of my Atari games came from that store. I can't believe I don't remember the name, but they were like $2, $5, $10, never full price. And Lionel Play World. Turning that frown upside down. Go into the cage with your ticket. Picking your game up. My parents didn't like taking us to Kmart because they always had the icy stand there with the popcorn. And we'd always ask for ices, and that would really annoy my father. We got an icy? 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 But I digress. It doesn't take an hour to have the discussion of whether OutRun or Rad Racer is better, but, you know, I hope everybody watching tonight will have left a like, and later on come back, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you're not ready to weigh in yet, weigh in on the next part, part 2, where we will take a look at Rad Racer and Rad Racer 2. And give it its day in court. Give it its chance to make a rebuttal. We really need to look at the positive and negatives for both games. There's just not a whole lot bad I can say about OutRun, though. I mean, yeah, you just have the one car, but God, it's a Ferrari. What else do you want? Got some hard turns in this one. I mean, when you have to lay on it that hard and downshift, that's almost as bad as a minor crash at that point. Frickin' turd. Ah, this is the one we got our ass kicked on so bad. You piece of shit! Tree, or car. Take your pick. You're hitting one of them. The car placement's so random. It's like skitching in the oil slicks. There's one wherever you don't need there to be one. So make sure that you hit it. Fuck you! I didn't hit that, you piece of shit! Oh, and I did hit that one and that one, and I mean, I'm glad I didn't, but I mean, which is it? There's been times I know I narrowly missed it. 2, 1. Oh, you piss ant. Oh, man. Well, wasn't for lack of trying. At least we scratched an itch. And we gotta look at the first competitor in our first SEGA Did It Better, Sega versus Nintendo matchup. So again, next one will be Rad Racer. We'll look at that. Like we even need to look at it, but you know what? After so long, it always feels like the first time. And you know, you put them back in and it's so great to play those again. Definitely scratched an OutRun itch tonight. Thank you for scratching it with me. What did you think about OutRun? Did you ever have OutRun? Did you go to the arcade to play OutRun? When you went to the arcade to play OutRun, did you go with a friend to play OutRun to the arcade? Did your friend like going with you to the arcade to play OutRun? When you got there with your friend, did your friend want to play OutRun? Did your friend, was he okay if you played OutRun? Did he help you go get some tokens? Did you get some tokens in the machine to play OutRun? Do you have enough tokens to play OutRun? Did you actually go to an arcade that required tokens to play OutRun? Do you have to go to the machine to put in money to get tokens? Did you actually have to use a quarter to put it into the machine to play OutRun? 1987, man. Look back in the damn Wikipedias. Look what all came out in 87. That was one amazing freaking year for gaming. But again, I digress. We were here to do some outrunning, and we did it. We didn't beat it, but I suck. So again, please drop a like. And if you haven't already, I know most of you have, but anybody watching the recap, if you haven't already, I need you to subscribe if you like watching people play games, because you know that is what we do here on the MC Mer Show. Thank you so much, and I know each and every one of you will be back here again for the next one, and we will see you again next time.